All right. Welcome in, everybody. This is episode 19 of the Art Coach podcast. Today, I have my first visitor on the podcast, amazing artist, Alex Ruiz. He was an animator on The Simpsons for 15 years, and now he's turned into a visionary artist. He's making his own work. He's doing all sorts of really cool stuff in the biohacking world as well. Alex, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, doing great, Sean. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about this. Love your work. Love what you're doing in the world, and we have a lot of overlap and a lot of similar ideas about art and how to teach the next generation. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that is really true. Actually, like I was thinking about it earlier today. Like, there's a lot of overlap. Like, and we kind of talked a little bit before about how you're going into the idea of biohacking for creativity and using the optimizing the body to optimize creativity. And a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about on my podcast has been optimizing the mind to optimize creativity, like so personal development and really kind of getting through those self-limiting beliefs, the ideas that hold us back. I know with a long career that you've probably had those moments where you have doubt and stuff. But how has like optimizing the body really helped with your creativity?
Yeah. Oh my God, so immensely because well, you optimize the body and that will then by default optimize the mind. And I'm into both of those modalities. Sometimes I'll just work on my mental game, as it were. But
Mm-hmm.
when I first started getting into biohacking in about 2018, I was at my lowest point physically,
Wow.
therefore mentally. My mind was just I wasn't taking care of either. And so that's what you get. First of all, when
Yeah.
you don't take care of your body or your mind, uh, your life will potentially fall apart. Not always. And I realized, oh, I'm a suffering artist now. you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got into that hole. That was my mindset because I'd gotten into these funks before, but I always got out of them through art. So art always saved me. I'm sure you relate to that,
Yeah.
art as the savior. And this time it just wasn't saving me. And this dragged on for months and months. And then it was like maybe like even 2, 3 years at this point where I was just going lower and lower. And then I got to this really dark place and I realized, oh, I'm on the road to suicide. This is where
Wow.
it's like I finally understood. I had massive compassion for people who ended up killing themselves because I realized how it potentially started for them because it was starting to happen.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't thinking, oh, this is how I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it at this time. No, it was more of if I keep going down this road, I will probably find a way to end it. I had a strong sense of that's my road. And I was like, holy shit, what do I do? Oh my God. So that's when I started to take my health more seriously.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a very intense state 7 years ago. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's really powerful. Yeah. Whenever I reflect back on parts of my life, the parts that were the hardest were always the parts where I was least physically active. Like
yeah,
there's a complete overlap where I didn't exercise, I didn't take care of my body, I didn't eat properly, I was, gaining a little bit of weight, let's say. I wasn't going to the gym. Like I've always been a very like kind of athletic person, but I've always liked going to the gym and lifting weights and doing a little cardio and going to yoga. But then there's always been these moments, you always say, "Oh, I wish I hadn't stopped doing it, man. All those gains that I lost, right?" And the moments where I had that year where I didn't do it, or that year and a half where I just stopped for some reason. Those years were the ones that were the most closely related to depression or sadness or lack of creativity, lack of productivity, more self doubt. And then whenever I would remember getting myself out of that. It always started with the physical first. I would remind myself that, oh, I do have agency, I do have control. And I think that that's like one of the really big lessons in like controlling the physical and changing the physical. is that it shows you, oh wait, I have the ability to change so much about myself. And if it can start here, what else can I change about myself? My mind, everything else. And so that's really awesome that you were able to get out of that with, working on your body and working on your physical, you know, abilities. How do you feel like that changed your ability to access creativity?
Oh man, it was immense, right? Because we're channels, we're vessels for the creative spirit or the muse or whatever you want to call it to come through. And when that's blocked, then the art suffers. And I totally get, making art in a dark place. And sometimes that is going to be the way out. But you really do have to come back, as you were saying, to the body, to the mind, to the soul, and then whatever you believe is God or the higher power or some element that's stronger than you. I know that there's a lot of pride, especially with men, to come out and say, I need help. So I was in that,
Hmm.
like, I'm a man and I'm a tortured artist and I could do this alone.
Yeah.
And then you have an epidemic of, men's suicide is like far more than women's suicide. And, I didn't learn about these stats until years later. And I realized, fuck, I could have been one of those guys. And it gave me more and more compassion to be like, how can I help people,
Hmm.
not just men, but, men and women. And now, like, teens are really suffering a lot because of social media and AI. And we can get into AI in a second, but
Yeah.
yeah, the advent of social media, when that happened, there's been an intense decline in attention span, first and foremost, of every.
Hmm.
But kids are really affected because of the whole comparison game and watching everyone's highlight reels online and comparing themselves to that, and then seeing other people's art and getting upset by that, right? And so I think it's important for us as the older generation to show our weakness, and that's very difficult.
Hmm.
Yeah, our vulnerability to the world, but not in a kind of victim place, but of a raw and relatable space, so that other people,
Right.
oh, they're just humans too. They're humans going through their own hard times, and maybe what they're doing can help me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. It's like a much more integrated approach to the suffering that is life. I mean, it's like really the base level of reality is like challenge, difficulty, suffering, and discomfort. Like that's the most real thing we can really grab onto sometimes. And
Yes.
yeah, I completely agree with you. The social media thing, I can't even imagine what it would be like for, 15, 16-year-old now or 20-year-old now, even. Like I'm just 36. I know you're older than me. Um, I was like the generation where I had my first cell phone in high school was like the Nokia flip phone, like the thing that would never be destroyed, right? So like that, there wasn't really like a social media. There was MySpace, right? So there was a little bit of that happening then, but it wasn't until I was actually like a fully grown adult that like the social media game really appeared and became a part of our reality, especially as an artist too. Like it's a really big part of our reality. Like, I mean, it's how most artists find their tribe and find their viewership and their audience. And it's actually a really powerful tool in that way. And the cool thing is about being an artist is that you can use social media to, instead of, putting out brain rot content, you're putting out your creativity, your expression, your authenticity, your ideas. And hopefully if we contribute more of that into the space and conversations like this, we can cut this up and put it all over Instagram as well. But like,
Yes.
it's gonna just adding a more in-depth conversation to everything rather than just having like there. I mean, I do it still. I still scroll every once in a while. And it's like, man, it just destroys your brain. Like the other day, I wasn't feeling too good. And I was like, I'm just going to sit around all day. And I just kind of was like resting, let's say. And I caught myself like 3 times through the day for 30 minutes just scrolling. And after every single time, my brain was just like, it felt like physically different than before.
Yes.
And I can't even imagine like, you growing up that way when your brain is, when all the synapses are firing and connecting and making your identity and the structure of your reality. And that's what's teaching you and creating your mind. Oh man, it's scary. It's super scary.
Terrifying. And the younger generation, they're of like the TikTok mind. They can't sit still for more than maybe a minute or two. That's really disturbing. And
Hmm.
the data and the stats on this is that if you are, say, if your focus is disturbed in any way, let's say you go check your phone, you're like, I'm just going to check for 1 minute, and say you do, fine. It's going to take you 20 minutes to get back into that previous workflow state that you were in just before, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When you add that up throughout the day and then throughout the month and throughout the year, it's like the time lost to this brain rot thing, that's a real thing. It's terrifying, and no wonder people are just losing their shit over their lack of focus and lack of productivity these days.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really big thing. I think, I mean, it's definitely by design, right? All of it. It's definitely like, I mean,
That
like it's all on purpose to keep people's attention there. But like the one of the issues that I'm seeing is that the productivity and the ability to like aim up gets dissolved. Like I feel like, especially as artists and as people who are like taking on a role, like as an artist, you're taking on a job on your own. Like no one's like, hey, you're gonna be an artist, dude. Like, like very rarely do you have a parent that's saying like, you're not gonna be a doctor or a lawyer. I'm not gonna aim up for that in that direction. I'm gonna have you be a painter. Like, come on. It doesn't
Wow.
happen very often. So like we've chosen this job. And so it's like if you're choosing that job, but then you're also allowing yourself to be distracted by these things, it's like it's not going to work. So like at a certain point, you have to say, okay, I'm making the sacrifice. I'm going to start focusing in on the thing I want the most, and then you sacrifice what your mind thinks you like and what you think you enjoy, which is social media. It's a distraction. It's a easy dopamine. And then through the sacrifice comes an amazing gift, which is more productivity, more creative action, more painting, more drawing, more connection with, collaborators, collaborations. And so it's like, it's a, hopefully just by this conversation alone, we've convinced somebody to pay more attention to the, how much they're scrolling, how much they're doing. Cause like, it's really an awareness, right? And this kind of goes into what you're doing now too. It's like the biohacking, like you have to be aware of
Mm.
what you're doing. Right. So, um, you know, what are some, I guess another question for you is like, what are some simple things that like the average person could just start doing other than like, exercise and eating properly? Like, is there any kind of like breathwork exercises or, things that come to mind that could be an easy route to just escaping that kind of like brain rot feeling and just getting back into the focus?
Yeah, yeah, great question. And like you were speaking of earlier of awareness, that is a key component. And it sounds easy. And well, when you pick up your phone and tell yourself, I'm just going to go on social media for a little bit, and I'm aware that I'm being distracted now. And you literally kind of talk to yourself in a second or third person. Um, just being aware that you're doing the things without judgment. And that is the issue. Can you do it without judgment? It's almost like meditating where you are observing your thoughts without judgment. That is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
That's an art form. It's taken me years to learn. And it's still difficult because this is where shame comes in. It's much easier to ignore and just kind of go through the motions and get those dopamine and fake serotonin hits, if that's even a thing, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
leading your dopamine by that anticipation. The dopamine is like an anticipatory, is that a word?
Yeah.
Anticipation drug, as it were. And the more you go into it and into it, you deplete it, and then it starts losing its meaning. So you need more and more. You're a drug addict to your own internal drug lab, essentially creating
Yeah.
more serotonin. And, what we need is more human connection and more oxytocin, right? Which is
Mm,
comes from other people. And this is the issue is that we are so disconnected. We're behind these screens all the time, which are very beneficial at times, but there is not a good balance of other people. So I would say that that's a key thing, at least for me, when I know I'm getting too isolated, it's because I'm not seeing any other people.
mm,
And then, well, then the next thing is someone might say, well, I don't even know any good people. It's like, well, you got to go find them. There are
yeah.
people like very close to you, I guarantee, who are struggling the same way you are. And sometimes you just need to talk about that with someone else. Say, I'm really struggling right now, and just
Mm,
have someone there who's able to hold the space, right? That's an issue with a lot of people that feel that I don't even know anyone that can like listen to me. And I was
mhm.
there, like I know that. That's why I isolated myself years ago because I thought no one gets me. No one gets me. And that's such a horrible trap. But I just didn't know how to find the right people. So I would say to anyone listening who's struggling with any of these issues, human connectivity is going to be a cure to a lot of these problems. And even if you have one friend, and a lot of people, it's so sad, don't even have that one friend, just one friend, right?
Yeah.
So it's about, okay, how do I go about doing this? And you can do it through the internet. You can do it through your phone, right? Through things like Meetup or any kind of social gathering things, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think we went off maybe a little off track there. Again, attention span.
I know it's okay. Yeah. No,
Get back,
yeah.
get back on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think community and human connection is going to be huge. And that's one of the things that I've talked about on this podcast before. It's like if you're an artist and you're working alone all the time, your art is going to suffer. Like
Mm,
if you're not part of some kind of art community or artist community, like your art isn't going to be as good. You can't even share what you've done. You can't even like feedback and critique is a big thing, but it's like if I look back at when I was in college, I went to an art school. Everybody there was an artist. Everybody. Like there was 95 students in the school, the school, and then there was like 20 faculty, and every single person was an amazing artist. So every single day, everybody that I talked to was like an artist in their own way, and they were reflective of myself, and it was like just 4 years of community.
wow.
And when I left, the main thing they told me was like, when you leave college, get into a shared studio, get into an art community, get into an art center as fast as you can. Because if you drop off from this community and you go into just being alone, you're not going to create anything. You're going to have artist block. You're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what it's for. And so that's what I would say is like if you're an artist or if you're anybody, honestly,
Yeah.
get into some kind of group that you meet. Like there's a lot of local art centers and little art, ceramic shops and things that people are teaching here and there. And it's like, okay, well, what if you can't afford it? Well, there's free ones also. There's always something that's also free. And if you do have the ability to pay for it and you have the ability to join a local art community or an online community or whatever it is, just do it. Like, even if you like, a big thing is, I think, is artists are afraid to, they're like, oh, I don't want to like go and do that. I don't want to like, it's like putting yourself out there, right? The doubts come in. You got to go and just be uncomfortable for the first couple times, be shy, be timid, experience it, face the discomfort, and then through that facing of it comes back, a huge reward. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so the community is a huge thing. Like what I do is I do like a daily reset, and maybe you can chime in on this after I explain it. What I do is I'll do a little bit of breath work, so maybe like I don't know, 60 seconds, 90 seconds of just deep breathing. It's usually when I feel like I've been painting for a while or doing art or doing something for a while. I'm like, oh, I'm drained. Usually, like I could go take a nap, but I know I have more work to do. I do some breathing, and then I'll do a little bit of visualization.
Mm.
I'll look at one of my goals, like whatever one of my goals is, and I'll try to imagine that goal being completely completed, like accomplished. Like I'm there at the finish line. I see the effects that it has, the impact that it has. For instance, like I'm working on a series of paintings. One of them is behind me here. It's going to be in a gallery. I imagine the gallery with all my paintings, people all around talking, having conversations in front of them. Maybe even if one of my goals is to sell one, I'll be putting that red little sticker on the name tag, and then feeling the feeling of having that experience, visualizing what it would feel like to be there. And then, I come out of it, I kind of like give myself a little shake, and then boom, I'm ready to paint again. Like I'm ready to go again. I have another 3 hours in me. Like what are your thoughts on maybe like a daily reset or like some kind of thing like that you can do?
Yeah. So, speaking of, okay, the first one, breath work, so important. And, when I first started getting into breath work, or I heard people talk about it, I'm like, what the fuck? I breathe anyways. I've been breathing my whole life. Like, I'm a professional breather, like breath.
Yeah, yeah.
Scoffed at it. I was like, really? That's a thing. And then I started doing actual breath work sessions, different lengths, right? The longer
Mm,
ones get crazy intense, and the revelations and the emotions that come through are incredibly intense. But like you said, like a 60-second breath work session or a 2 minute or a 5 minute thing is enough, right? To basically calm your mind down so that it creates the space, right? To be able to make the decision about how to move forward.
mm,
I feel that so many times we get so anxious at times because, again, the world it's moving very fast. And especially if we're online, we are seeing other people's lives and then comparing and all of this stuff. And so anxiety, people aren't breathing correctly.
mm,
So full, like learning how to breathe full breaths into the diaphragm, right? Holding your breath. This can be like a 2 minute pause, like whenever you need it. And you can at will just kind of say, hey, I'm feeling anxious. I'm going to breathe for the next 2 minutes. And that's all you do. It's very simple. You don't need a phone. You don't need a timer. You just breathe, and then you will get this kind of clarity.
yeah.
And your next idea of visualization. Yeah. The first time I had that concept come up was in 2019 when I was doing Joe Dispenza's work. And he's big into that. Visualize a future event with full
Hmm.
emotion as if you're there, is exactly what you talked about. Feel
Yeah.
the feelings, right? And then you use those feelings and that momentum to kind of get you to the next stage, as it were,
Hmm.
creating a bridge between now and where you want to go. And it's all feeling based, because that's what we're going for ultimately. It's like we don't want the thing, we want the feeling that the thing is going to get us. Like we don't
Mm,
want the Lamborghini, we want the feeling that the Lamborghini is going to get us. Not that
hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
just rent one for a day and I feel amazing and go return that shit, because I don't want the Lamborghini, I want the feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, when I was playing with that idea and doing his meditations, I thought, this is really powerful. You know what? I'm going to create like a 3-day course on this, and I called it Confidence Through Imagination.
Like that.
Yeah. And then I thought, because it was all about that, imagine a future event, visualize it with intense clarity, the feelings, the smells, the sounds, everything, and then work your way towards it. And then I thought, well, what do I know? What can I teach in this 3-part course or 3-day course? I forget, because I never made the course. Because what happened was I thought, what can I teach? And I'm like, well, I'm an artist. I'm going to teach having an art show.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm going to teach, that as an example. And so every evening I would meditate on this topic for like half an hour. And I would start imagining art show. Oh, this is dope. The venue, and people are wearing these suits because I wanted to be like a gala, and I wanted all my friends there. And
Hmm.
I did this for about a week. And then I realized, screw this course. This is my art show that I'm imagining. I'm going to art show. I'm going to like do this thing. And this was in mid 2019. It was like right around January, and I just created about 10 drawings of a new series. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And I'm like, I'm going to have an art show based on these 10 drawings. And I'm going to base it off this concept of visualizing the future, Joe Dispenza style. And, about 9 months later, I had this art show. It was fucking incredible. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah. And it's not like, oh, this stuff manifests out of no, you make it happen. Like the whole man
Yeah.
thing is like, it's,
Yeah.
it's
Well, yeah, there's kind of like a lost part in that. It's like people think you just think about it and then it comes true. It's more that you think about it with such clarity that uh you know that it'll happen. Like it's like you're not trying to make it happen. You know that it'll happen. And through the knowing, all of your actions are very inspired.
yes.
Um Neville Goddard talks about this. And he's a big manifestation guy. And he talks about, feeling it as if it's done, as if it's completed, as if it's already finished, and then allowing that to inspire all of your actions. So you don't just you're not trying to do it, because trying is actually it's actually practicing not having it.
Right.
If you're trying to go do something, you're acting as if you don't have it yet. And so you just act and you just know that you're going to have it. So the clarity that you have when you have that, it's almost like you're delusional, right? It's like, I'm going to go, it is a delusional thought for some people. Like, I'm going to have my own art show. That's, that could seem delusional to some people, but you can do it. And you just said like, you did it. And it's interesting too, that you said it started out as like you were visualizing yourself doing a workshop on visualizing for creativity and imagination. And then it ended up being that you were actually visualizing your own art show. And then you visualized it into being. Yeah, you did the work, but that was like, that it all sprouted from the thought and the idea. So it's like, it's literally your consciousness, your ideation brings forth the reality that you want in your life.
Yes.
Really, it's really amazing. It's a very powerful thing. That's
Yeah.
really cool. And that was back in 2019, you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I had the art show on my birthday weekend in 2020, March 3rd. And a week later, the world shuts down. Right.
Literally. Wow. Yeah. That's, yeah.
1 week later. Yeah. And I was even contemplating having it a week later for whatever reason, but like you never know. And this was one of those situations where, man, we really didn't know what was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. The end of March, it was over.
Man, what a wild time. And I feel that so many people are still in that world and they haven't even processed the trauma of that. We went through this collective trauma, which was really intense.
Oh,
And
man. It was so weird.
it's still so unprocessed, I feel, with a lot of people because I'm always asking people, hey, what were you doing, 4 years ago, right before COVID? And we get into the story of like what their life was like right before, and then how was COVID for them. And it's powerful. Like we were all like forced into isolation to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely the most depressed I've ever been, for sure. Like 100%. Like it was just, no exercise. The gyms were closed. I was like, I'm going to exercise at home. And then it just fell apart. I just didn't do it. Wasn't working, just making little drawings here and there. And then it just, yeah, like I know a lot of people who started drinking more during that time, and like, it just was not good. And I completely, it was like when it went back to normal, it was like, we just slid back into just like, it was like everybody ignored it. Like nobody even talks about it anymore. It's like this thing that like, it's like this trauma that we've all swept under the rug. It's like no one talks about it. No one talks about COVID. And we're just like ignore it. Like, oh yeah, that was during COVID. Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, that was a weird couple of years there. And it was different for everyone. But, in
Yeah.
California, the laws were stricter than they are here in Texas. And, even going to the beach, we all got in trouble for that, which was ridiculous. We're at the beach with wind blowing and like,
Mm-hmm.
people getting arrested on the beach. Like, what the fuck? It was just horrific. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really strange time. Yeah.
where were you during that?
I lived in Oregon at the time.
Okay. How was it up there?
It was very locked down. Like Oregon is a very, I don't know how to say it, but they were very crazy about it. Like you couldn't do anything. Like
Wow.
it was very, very strict. Like very few people had jobs still. It was like very like you had to be very crucial to society running for you to have a job still.
Wow.
Um, and like if you got COVID, like they wouldn't even let you. Like there was some benefits. Like the government would like bring you groceries and stuff. Like they would take care of you pretty well if you actually got diagnosed with it. And like they were like, just stay home. We're doing everything for you. We're gonna bring you your meals. We're gonna, it was like I actually got it at one point, and they were like brought me everything I needed. It was kind of cool, but but the part of it though that was bad was like literally nothing was open. The everything was like there were some businesses that were trying to go against it and like trying to stay open and like rebelling, and they were shut down and they never reopened. And like there was a lot of like a lot of in the culture and locally there was a lot of like the because there's a freedom aspect to it, which is for some reason it seemed as it's like seen as like a conservative value, freedom.
Right.
And then there was like the liberal people that were like, it was like it was a political thing. Like liberal people wanted to lock us down, and conservative people wanted their freedom, and it's like this political fight that happened. And Oregon, in the area that I'm at, Portland, in that whole area, is a very, very liberal and democratic kind of area. And if anybody was like talking about going out without a mask or doing this, it was like cultural and societal shunning. Just just you are forever canceled in our eyes if I see you without a mask on, I'm never speaking to you again, like that type of thing. It was like so just tribal and weird, man. It was too much. It was too much.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so that forced more isolation, and it made groups of friends stop talking to each other, and people, like I said, got jobs were lost and businesses were closed. I don't know, it was a weird time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of like time frame, like, so kind of switching subjects here, what was your time frame like I know that you worked for the Simpsons. You
Yes.
worked with the Simpsons, you were an animator. Like, when was that?
So that was from 1995 to around 2010, 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a long run. I worked on the show, the movie, the games, the ride, the toys, the Simpsons toilet seat covers, just like it was crazy, man. And Simpsons on it, I was working on it. And towards the, maybe the middle part of that, I was like, I can't work on this show anymore. It's driving me nuts. I was like,
Oh, really?
yellow. It was like a yellow glaze. I'm like, I can't draw these big-eyed characters anymore. I'm like, I'm here on this planet to do much more than draw a fucking cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's around that time I watched the behind the scenes for the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a bunch of artists sitting around drawing monsters, and I was like, I got to do that. I want monsters and more serious, like darker stuff in fantasy environments and
Okay.
castles and shit. I'm like, what is this? Like, how do I do that? And then shortly after that, this was around 2003, I learned, oh, this thing's called concept art. I'm going to look for that. And I found some groups online. And the first major artist that I discovered was Android Jones. Are you familiar with him?
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of his stuff. He's got some crazy stuff.
Crazy, right? And I saw his work because he was a part of the concept art community. He actually was one of the leaders, and he was this rock star figure, and he was much more public then. He's kind of, more hidden now, but he was this very exposed figure, rock star, and he was an amazing artist. And I'm like, fuck the Simpsons. Like, I want his job. He was working on video games at the time, doing just badass concept art of like Metroid and all this like sci-fi, like super sexy digital art. And when I realized he's making this on the computer, what the fuck? Like, I don't even own a computer. Like, what the hell? And here I am drawing like Homer Simpson, big-eyed characters, and like I see his work, and it was just like the amount of insecurity and the amount of, I don't know, there was all these negative feelings. Like, how could I do that? How could I even get close? Like, how do I even how do I even think about doing the work that he's doing? So it was a very kind of disheartening place, but I was so inspired by the potentiality of like, well, there are people out there that draw for video games and movies, and they're drawing monsters and robots and sexy girls. And I'm like, look, I could draw. I just don't have that stuff. I just knew I was able to draw well. So the first things I started doing was I just started drawing monsters and robots and
Mhm.
like that. But the real hurdle for me was digital painting
Oh yeah.
and
Total shift in medium.
total shift. And like drawing on paper, yeah, I was killing that, but I knew I had to learn this new tool. And for me, it was like learning how to walk again
Yeah.
after being paralyzed. It was very slow and painful and scary and like disheartening. And it wasn't, until 3 years after I'd gotten into that, I started posting stuff. So it was I was working on The Simpsons during the day, and then at night and lunchtime, all my free time, I just stopped going out, stopped hanging out with friends. And I was so dead set on becoming a concept artist. And so that's what I trained for. And, again, Simpsons by day, concept art by night. And then it
Nice.
went on for years and years. And then I started getting some freelance gigs here or there. And I would get fired from those because, okay, I was good enough, but I wasn't fast enough. And then I realized, fuck, you got to be like being good enough isn't, it's like that's only part of the puzzle. You have to be fast enough, and you have to know how to deal with clients and know how to take criticism, know how to do revisions. And it was like, oh, one hurdle after another, but I was just so dead set. I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to work on movies. I don't know how long it's going to take. And in that time, I started getting teaching work because a couple schools reached out to me. They were online and in LA, two different schools. And they were like, hey, we love your work. Can you teach what you're doing? This digital painting thing? And I was like, I don't even have a job in this world. Like, I
Yeah.
work on The Simpsons. And they're like, we don't care. If you could teach what you're doing, we'll hire you right now. And I was like, interesting. And so I started teaching before I got any serious work for a few years. And that was a huge revelation. I realized, oh, you could teach without having worked professionally in something, at least in this universe that I was in. And that's something that I advise other artists who really want to make money at their work and they're struggling. And I'm like, have you considered teaching? Because a lot of people want to learn what you know how to do. And that helps some people. Other people are like, no, fuck teaching, man. Like if you can't, that whole saying of like, if you can't do, then teach.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't teach Jim, like,
Right.
uh, but I realized, no, I'm helping people and I'm having fun and I'm getting paid. So then I was teaching at night and working on The Simpsons by day because I needed a day job. And
Yeah.
God, I was so grateful. I was just like, in retrospect, very grateful. The Simpsons. I mean, it's still on after.
It's still on. I mean, and you said 1995, like that's when I was a kid and I was watching it probably. So I probably watched your animations,
Yeah, and that was it had already been on 6, 7 years by that point. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a wild journey. And like I said to you earlier, I'm telling that story because there was a time when I was ashamed to tell the story that I worked on The Simpsons because I wanted to be considered a serious artist.
Ah, okay.
Concept art, a guy that draws monsters and stuff for Lord of the Rings and Marvel does not do cartoons. It's like you don't do that shit.
Hmm.
Like, even though it was on my resume, I didn't tell people outright. They found out later and they're like, this is amazing. We love The Simpsons. Why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, I didn't want
Yeah.
in future employers' heads that I did cartoons.
Right. Okay.
So it was like I was living in these two worlds. I was like making money with The Simpsons, and yet I was trying to be a serious artist. And they were like, it was like Bruce Wayne and Batman, two different worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm at this point where I'm telling the whole story and I'm proud of everything that I worked on. So, from The Simpsons, I'm calling this story The Simpsons to Infinity and Beyond. And Infinity stands for Infinity War, which was the Avengers movie. And,
Uh-huh.
well, 10 years after I made that conscious decision to be a concept artist, I got a job at Digital Domain, which is James Cameron's company. And I got to work on all of these big movies. Like the dream came true
Oh wow.
10 fucking years later, man. People only see the highlights, right? But it's like this the slow grind in between chapters that people don't see. And that's the story I'm telling now. So then I'm about 5 years at Digital Domain. I get that same inkling at the end. I'm like, I'm not here to draw like Marvel and Disney shit. I'm here to do my own stuff. Like,
Hmm.
who's going to pay me money to do my own stuff? And so 5 years ago, I left that industry. I left that company. I actually got up and I walked out. Do you ever see Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, yeah.
Except that I always said, I Jerry Maguire did, except I didn't yell like, "Who's coming with me?"
Right, right. You just left quietly.
Yeah. I just kind of strolled out, emailed my manager later, said I had a family emergency, which was my internal family. There was truth to it.
Right, right.
Hey, I'm like done with this. I'm not coming back. Goodbye.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
yeah, so I had a little saved. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, if you walk out on this, man, this is like a premier fucking job. This is like art director, concept artist for Infinity War and Spider-Man and Beauty and the Beast and like VR. And I was working video games and all this cool stuff within one job. And I thought if I leave this now, like they're not going to want me. They're probably not going to hire me back. And
Yeah.
so I kind of, burned the boats as it were. I'd made a decision and I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. And that was in early 2019, right? And then
Ah.
I start having the visions for the art show, and then I have the art show. And
Hmm.
a year after, in 21, I moved out of this place and I moved to Marina Del Rey. We're still in COVID, actually, mid 21. And I just started having visions for a new art series. And I created that within a month's time. I created that entire series, Delicate Delirium, which I posted a lot about on Instagram.
Yeah, I've seen that work. It's great.
Thanks. Yeah. And I just had that art show like a month ago. So 4 years after I created the series, I finally had the art show for it. And it fulfilled such a massive part of the inner artist in me that now, there's room and energy for now the teacher and the mentor and, like a
Hmm.
lot of what you're doing now. Like that energy is at the top. And even though I still love the idea of creating a new art series, it's kind of taken a back seat to now the mentor, the teacher,
Hmm.
guide, right? So that's kind of where I'm at now, and excited to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's an awesome story, man. I can't like when I first met you, I had no idea the Simpsons. I think that maybe one was part of the time, when you weren't telling everybody as much. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, from the Simpsons, like, you went through that experience and then you created a new dream for yourself. And then through the work of 10 years, accomplished the dream and worked it for quite a long time, it seems like,
Yeah.
to the point where you had gotten everything you could from it. Like you had, let's say, mastered the skills,
Yeah.
climbed the ladder to the top. That, I mean, that company is up there. Like that's a dream job for concept artists everywhere, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And and then you decided, okay, I want to make my own art. Right? That's a really, really bold thing to do. Like you
Mhm.
said, in a position of that much success being part of a team like that. And I think that that's actually it's actually a thing that happens to a lot of people. It happened to me actually when I left college. I didn't climb like a company like that, but I was doing commission work like crazy, like pet portraits, just anything traditional, anything I could replicate for somebody. Essentially, just paying the bills, making the money. And I must have done 400 pet portraits. I'm telling you,
Wow.
so many dogs. Like I was doing like 20 of them a month.
Wow.
Just super fast process, just pumping them out, selling them, doing the whole thing myself. And eventually, like, you just do so many of them and you're like, okay, I did it. Like, right. It's like you prove to yourself, okay, I made it. I made it. Right. Like I pay the bills with my art. I can do that. But there's like a hole there. It's like someone tells you what to make. We like for you, we need this monster. Okay. All right. Looks good. Let's change it. Make it more like this. Make it more like that. Make it more like that. Right. It's kind of similar, do a pet portrait, do a portrait of my family. Okay, well, this guy's face looks a little weird. Change it, alter it, revise it. And it's like you become a tool for the person above you, the person that's telling you what to do, like what to do. Like a commissioned artist, you're a tool
Right.
for somebody else's vision. And when you transition from being told what to make to making what you want to make, it's kind of hard. Like, well, how did you make that transition from like being you're not a commission artist, but it's very similar in a way. Like you're doing, I don't know if you were the one creating the ideas for all the characters, but I'm sure there was somebody kind of informing you in the team. Like, how do you go from being part of that collaboration to just being like, I'm the sole creator and idea maker for my art?
Yeah. No, great question. And so you have to basically create that character within you. There was a term in the film industry called pixel fucking. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Never heard of it. No.
It was like a real thing because some art directors, they were so anal. Move this pixel just literally, like they're pixel fucking you.
Oh
And
wow.
it's not fun getting pixel fucked, but I'm telling you, like I worked with some people that they did that a lot. And those were some of the best lessons that I got from them because it wasn't until years later that I realized, man, so and so pixel fucked me so hard, but like I'm now using that in my own work. So I did start doing a lot of portraits once I left. Even before I left, I needed something to hold on to, as it were. And so back in 2018, I did a portrait of Aubrey Marcus, who runs a community out here. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a big reason why I'm out here in Austin. He's a reason like how you and I met through Mark, right?
Oh right. Yeah. Yeah.
Reconnected me to a lot of people. So I painted his portrait for me, right? And it was a really cool portrait, and it marks a significant turn in my own mental health and my professional career. But the reason I mention that is like when you're painting eyes and you're painting in the highlights, by changing a highlight 1 pixel over, you change the vibe, you change where the character is looking entirely.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I learned that through the pixel fuckers.
Yeah. That's interesting. So like they were like overly critiquing, and that's what it felt like at the moment, like overly critiquing, overly like revising, and
Yeah.
then it gave you a sense of like attention to detail within your own work.
Exactly. And that's one thing that's hard, that they don't teach you how to accept criticism, because these guys, they knew what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they were right to pixel fuck me. That's the last time I'm going to say that. But they were right in doing that because they knew what they were talking about. And that then informed basically every portrait that I ever painted past that. I must have done maybe like at least 50 to maybe almost 100 portraits in the past few years, digital portraits. I did people's podcast covers and album covers, and I became like the podcast portrait guy for a while until it started getting old. And early 22, right? Early mid 22 was when the whole AI explosion started happening. People would upload their photos and they'd get their 20 images of themselves in the
Right.
higher self. When that started exploding, that my portrait business died overnight. Like literally,
Wow.
there was a day when I was getting a lot of people interested, and then, a week later, no one for months and months. And it's because, yeah, it's like, well, why pay Alex, this money where I can pay $10 to like get
Hmm.
something similar to what he does for thousands less, right?
Yeah. And that's just barely good enough. Right.
Exactly. So eventually people started coming around. They're like, yeah, I had fun with AI, but I want a real person, a real artist to paint my
Okay.
portrait. And I started getting more portrait commissions. But by that point, I'm like, I'm done with portraits. The same way I was done with The Simpsons. I'm done with movies. I'm done with,
Yeah. Yeah.
what else am I going to create? What else am I going to have the energy to start getting excited about again? And I've just noticed that pattern in my life where I set a goal and then, I get there and I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And it's like, motherfucker, you have to appreciate the journey. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
been a hard lesson for me of like enjoying the journey, because once you get to that destination, you're going to experience the same come down. It's not going to be as awesome as you thought, and
Yeah. You're going to start looking for something else.
exactly, you'll be
Push the,
yeah,
yeah.
there'll be some regret in there, all this stuff. So it's like, okay, how can I enjoy the process? And
Hmm.
as I mentioned before, and as you know, my new excitement is other people, it's other artists, and it's helping people who maybe don't realize that they have an inner artist in them that is
Mm.
dying to come out. And that really lights me up because it just takes all of this attention off of me, because for my entire life it was all about, this is me and this is what I do, and I'm an artist and I'm an animator and I do this, and it was always just I, and I was just like,
Mm. Yeah.
that I realized, oh, I want to help more people. I actually get more joy of helping more people now, which is why I'm teaching more workshops and starting to ideate what my online artist platform is going to look like. And
Awesome. Yeah.
this brings me a lot of joy, as I'm sure it does for you.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I went into teaching too. Like I always had a spark for it. I always liked
Yeah.
the feeling of helping somebody through a struggle. Like when I was in college, I always seemed to be the person that people would like ask, like, "Hey, Sean, like, what do we do when this happens? Like, hey, can you look at this painting? Like, give me a critique, give me something, especially the underclassmen." And I just loved interacting and like showing them what I saw and like pointing it out and guiding them through something. And then it just slowly turned into other teaching opportunities. And then I did like, there's a time where I did like paint nights, like wine and sip type things, and those were even fun. I was like, people who have literally never touched a paintbrush to a canvas, I can guide them through step by step to make something that looks, I mean, pretty good for somebody who's never touched a canvas, right? And so it's like, and they, there's a feeling too that's attached to it. Like when you see somebody who's never made something, when they look at what they've made and they're like holding it and you take a little picture at the end, they're like smiling. They're like, I can't believe I made this.
That's
That feeling, that's really cool to have facilitated that in somebody else.
yes.
So it's like there's an impact there that's really awesome. And that's kind of what sparked the art coach to come about. And I've always been interested in like the personal development side.
Yeah.
Having used it myself to overcome lots of personal doubts and things like that. It's like, how can I bridge the two? And so it's like, if for some reason in the art world, there isn't really a voice of personal development. It's like people think that you have to be tortured to make good art. Like there's this idea like your art is no good unless you've suffered. It's like, no, like integrate, like, yeah, you can integrate the suffering and become a stronger person, then make art that is informed by that suffering that you might have had. But you don't have to have daily suffering to make good, powerful art. Like, especially like in the fine art world, the painting world, right? It's like, you don't need that. Like, you don't need to be an alcoholic like Pollock. You don't need to be, a misogynist like Picasso. Like, you don't need to be that person. You can be a very good person and make amazing art that will test, like, be looked at for years and years to come.
Yes. Oh, bro, dude, I have a feeling so many people are going to enjoy this podcast just from what you said there alone is going to
Yeah.
free up that myth that you have to be a tortured artist to create great art, which is total BS.
Yeah. It's like I want to enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
Like I've chosen this on myself and I'm not going to enjoy my own vocation. Like it makes no sense. And I've been in moments where I was just like, I'm going to, it's like you want to make dark or not necessarily dark, but like just art that reflects the hard parts of life. And it's like, I have to suffer to make that art. But
Yeah.
I've already done the suffering. I can just make the art about it now. Um,
That and on that same note, the people that are struggling, yes, you can make art in that struggle, but just know that the art can truly help you, and like you were saying, help you integrate and help you heal.
mhm. Yeah.
The power, the healing power of creativity. Art and creating art can help you out of that struggle and out of that depression. And
Yeah.
it can be, yeah, incredibly transformative. And yeah, I know we both experienced the power, the
Yeah.
healing.
It gives you like a glimpse into like it's like going to the gym and working out and like, oh wow, I can change my physical appearance, my physical strength. You're making something external, like you're making something that is beautiful. You're like opening the window into beauty and like saying like, oh wow, I can actually make the beauty. Like there's beauty out there in the world and I can see it, but I can actually be the person who facilitates the beauty into the world. That's an amazing power. Like, and that's the power that you have to take on the responsibility yourself to do it. Otherwise it doesn't get made. It just, it's like an idea that just stays in your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to be able to teach and to bring creativity to other people. And there's also like I guess I have a question for you. So how do you how do you choose what you want to teach to somebody? Like what guides you to the next workshop?
Yeah, another great question. I let people know, I meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
And that's another lesson that so I've been putting together the lesson plans for what I'm calling Infinite Artist. And, it's basically from zero to infinity, right? From writing as a way into drawing basics, form, lighting, sketching, perspective, composition, all that stuff, all the way to like advanced digital painting and stuff. Um, One thing that I sometimes do, I'm just showing people this whole composition of just like where are you at? Where do you think you're at on your journey? But
Mm,
sometimes, and I think it's even better than this, I just listen to the person. And when someone says, I can't draw a straight line, like that's so common. I'm sure you hear that.
yeah, yeah. Stick figure, straight line, yeah.
Like a perfectly straight line. No one can draw a perfectly straight line without a ruler. So if you had a,
Yeah.
you could draw a perfectly straight line.
Yeah.
So then when someone says to me those two things, I ask them, now tell me, serious question, can you write your name? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, we'll start there. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, writing is another form of drawing, right? Writing is controlling the line to make it look like what you want it to look like. In this case, your name, which is a bunch of symbols put together, right? When I explain writing in that sense, I see like a little light bulb turn on in their head. And I'm like, you're right. Writing is controlled drawing. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
light bulb happened for me just now too, because they are symbols, and
yeah,
symbols are you have to draw a symbol, right?
exactly. Right. But it's like, okay, turning the word writing into drawing. So in some of these workshops that I'm doing, we literally start by writing our own names, right? And then I have the people write their names backwards, upside down,
Mm,
vertically, right? And then we start turning the letters of their names into symbols. So triangles, squares, circles, and combinations of those, which then get turned into forms. And then the forms become things, right?
yeah.
Face. animals, houses, trees, whatever. So starting at very basic levels, but again, meeting people where they're at. And I always ask them, do you have any artwork to show? And
Hmm.
that'll give me a good basis of where they're at and where, and then
Yeah.
I, okay, is there any art that you like that you would like to emulate? And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, this would be the plan to get from where you are to there, right? So
Right. Yeah. This is super similar to how I approach artists as well. Like I
it's,
have an artist that is literally started drawing 3 weeks ago and I'm working with, and then I have one that's been, she's been painting for 15, 20 years, and she's a better painter than me in some ways. And
yeah.
so I'm helping her with other things that aren't related to actually technique, right? How, like, for instance, how to figure out what you want to paint. She's a commission artist,
Mm,
been a commission artist her whole life, and she's like, I want what about me? Like, what do I want to make? Like what's locked away in my own consciousness that needs to come out?
yes.
And that's kind of, we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's like, it's a challenging thing, like connecting to your intuition and like allowing that to guide you to what you're interested in and what's exciting. Like that's such a weird thing to do. And
Yeah.
that's kind of related to the question I just asked you. Like, how do you choose what to do for your workshops, but how do you choose what to make for your art? And you touched on it very briefly at the beginning. It was like the ideas come to us and we're like conduits, and we just like, okay, the idea comes in, we say yes to it, and then the idea, it turns into a physical reality where we've kind of like have a reciprocal relationship with whatever gave it to us. And we could say, yo, it's me, it's my brain, it's synapses firing. But I feel like there's a little bit more than that,
Yes.
because some ideas you're just like, I have no idea where that came from. And then afterwards you look at it like, wait, that's like more than what it is at the beginning. Like there's meaning behind it, and the things that you put into it are like one of the things I've found with working with a lot of artists is that, especially like the fine art painting world, where you try to make art that is like meaningful,
Mm,
is that they tend to start with the meaning and then try to fit a painting into the meaning, instead of making a painting and then finding the meaning in the painting, which is my approach usually. I'm much more of an intuitive painter, and I just allow the things to appear, and I just say yes to the ideas. Oh, what if this happened here? What if that happened there? Yes, no, yes, 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 no, yes. And then eventually the image appears, and then while I'm making it, because paintings take many, many, many hours, I think, okay, oh, this is why I'm painting this. When I
mm,
was 13, this happened, and it's this object from this time, and it's this story from this thing, or it's
mm,
paralleling my current life. An artist that I was working with before, like he was going through this huge change in his life, and then he was making paintings that were about kind of like a post-apocalyptic world, and it's like, oh, your life is kind of, this thing fell apart, and then your paintings are about it falling apart. And he's like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. It's like you allow it out, and then you're like, oh, okay, right. And so I think that that's like a really, it's a really challenging approach, because it's like, as an artist, like a painter, you want to like make something that has an impact.
yeah.
But how do you make the impact without, like, you're like trying to fit the thing into the box, right? It's like there's this thing where we think is impact, and then we try to like jam our idea into it so that it makes impact. But I find that if you just allow yourself to come out, right, come through, and just, you just intuitively decide, then it's so you that the impact just is a byproduct. So authenticity and the creativity, the intuition, all of those things happen, and then automatically, like, it's unavoidable, you make something that, because you made it, somebody else sees something from it, like it holds a mirror up to the world when they see it.
Yes.
um
Yeah. Well said.
yeah, so that's like one of the things that I've been, really working on the past like 5 years. And so I have, like, I think we're getting pretty long here, but I have one more question for you. So when you went from concept artist, which is, I think, really similar to this idea of being, told what to make,
Right.
you're guided to an end result, to doing what was it, infinite delirium, or
Delicate delirium.
delicate delirium, right? To doing that series, like, how did you go from being told to telling yourself and deciding on that, like why those drawings, why those images, right? Why did you say yes to that and not every other potential possible thing that you could draw? Like, can you connect to that and maybe say
Yeah.
something about it?
I think I'm still like figuring that out, even at
Yeah.
this 4 years after I created the series. So having this one art show, and this speaks to what you were saying, when we show our work to other people and they reflect back what they see, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives us more insight into our work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A very powerful way for us to find more meaning in our work by sharing it. And so by sharing this series, I got a whole new sense of, some people told me that they looked at them and it was like them looking into a mirror of their like higher selves. It was very like powerful. Like, oh, it's like, hey, I just channeled this shit. Like I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
that was very humbling when people say that they see their higher selves in your work.
Mm-hmm.
And to receive that, it's a lot, because I'm not taking credit for anything more than that feels comfortable. I just know I drew these things. And yes, I developed the technical proficiency. This was the most technically complex work I've ever done. And I look at the work now and I'm like, I have no patience to do anything remotely close to that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a very technically complex series of work, and I had to be in a kind of an isolated state, and I was living at the beach, which was it was the only lovely thing about the entire experience, because I was still isolated and still in COVID world. And but that isolation brought through what I think is my greatest work ever. And now having this art show and people now coming to me and saying what the work means to them makes it all worth it. Makes all of, because that's when I look at that series, I think of my pain, I think of my isolation, I think of the struggle I was going through. And now that other people are seeing it, I'm starting to, exchange some of those more negative emotions into more positive ones. Because I do think it's a beautiful series.
Yeah,
But
it is. Yeah.
thank you. And I'm still in the process of like shifting. I want to hold on to, some of the darkness of it, because it's inspiring to other people when they hear that, oh, you didn't make this in pure joy. Like it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell? Some of my digital work is very colorful and very psychedelic and explosive. And I've created it in just isolation and just sadness and like just
Wow.
this. And so I think we create the things we want to see in the world. And
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
that speaks to the idea of like when people say to me, I don't know what to create. And I'm like, well, first of all, what do you like?
Yeah.
I always start there. And they're like, well, I like, roses and puppies. I'm like, there you go. You're going to start drawing roses and puppies,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
things come out of that. So that's actually a great technique that I learned a long time ago. And I tell other beginner artists, like, start writing down the things you would like to create. Just make a list.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not be able to do it right away on a technical level, but you have your list. And the better you get, the more you go back to your list and you start creating the things on that list. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a great process also. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's really true. Like, I like the idea of writing, uh, especially when you don't know what to make.
Yeah.
You can make an intuitive kind of expressive abstract painting or something and just react to marks. But if you write down things that you're actually interested in, like just journal and let your mind kind of go
Yes.
and just let it all out and say, well, what am I actually excited by? Like, what is my interest? Well, why aren't I just making that? It's like, it's almost like so obvious, but I think that it ties in with like, there's this thing I've noticed as well with a lot of artists, like they don't want to be put into a box. Like, I'm the artist that does this. And then
Yes.
you become a one trick pony your whole life, and you're just like the person who did that thing. And it's like, but it's, in a way, it's like better to have done a thing than to have not done a thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and
Uh,
that's a huge thing I see with a lot of artists. They don't want to get confined to a particular style,
right.
but it's the style that an artist may be seeking to become known for that style, and yet they get into that place where it's like, okay, well, now I have to just keep creating in this style, otherwise people aren't going to know me.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel imprisoned by the style that they sought out, and now they're imprisoned by it. So
Yeah.
for me, breaking out of that and now zooming out and telling the whole story, no one can really put me in a box per se, because I'm still the same kid that drew The Simpsons, and now I love drawing The Simpsons for people. And I'm also the guy that did Delicate Delirium and everything in between, the Marvel movies and all the conceptual art. And there was a time when I was like known as like a dark artist, speaking of dark art, in my early concept art days. And it was like demons and zombies and post-apocalyptic shit. And yeah, I was going through a lot of stuff then, and it reflected in the art. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud of all of it. And I can't, at this point, no one can say, well, Alex is, a solely a visionary artist, or solely an animator, or solely a conceptual artist. He's just a dude that's like finding his way through life, and creativity is kind of the path through life, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's taken a while to break out of that. Oh, I'm going to set up a style, I'm going to be known for it, and blah.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, like, I don't know what my next style is per se. I don't even care at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Taken all of these years of caring so much about like creating a style, and I created a visual
Mm-hmm.
with Delicate Delirium, and the series that came before that was called Signs of Life. And I always say Signs of Life is the mother of Delicate Delirium. And both of those series were created from writing. So it speaks to the power of writing, getting good at calligraphy, just writing
Mm-hmm.
words mindfully with a nice pen, is a great way for someone to learn how to draw.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that, yeah, pen control is huge. I do these things called drawing drills, and it's like essentially calligraphic flourishes and loops and figure eights and all sorts of stuff. It'd be a really great warm up too before you go to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It's all very, it, it's kind of insane how the whole story unfolds, and there's almost like a. I think that this happens a lot for artists. Like you have to kind of almost refine and pinpoint a thing that you're focused in, and then allow it to, you release it. Like you might get caught up as, okay, during that time I was the Simpsons artist and that's who I was. Oh, am I going to be a Simpsons artist forever? No, you're not. You're not, because you're going to lose interest in it and you're going to gain interest in something else. And so you can do it for a couple of years, you can do it for a month, you can do it for 10 years, but you have to actually do it and go through the process of actually pinpointing the thing that you're going to learn and master and figure out, and then from that allow it to inform and expand out to the other thing, and then you again refine and refine and refine and refine and refine. So it's like you're going through this funnel that just opens up into a larger funnel that opens up into a larger funnel, and it's just the process of continuous growth, right? It's like, what's next? I don't know, but I'm going to allow the excitement, the intuition to guide me there, and
Mm.
then again, like we were talking about, surrender to the ideas that come to you and just say they're going to come to me, and I'm going to either say yes or no to them based on my level of excitement, my
Mm.
connection to that idea. And it, again, like we talked about before, it's the feeling. Like, we're artists expressing ourselves, so what better way to do that than to be really connected to how we feel,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we're really aware, like we were talking about before, we're really aware, we're really conscious, we're really in tune with our feelings. Not to say it like, oh, I'm an emotional person, but to say it like I'm in tune with how my body feels, and that guides me to where I'm going to go next. Then you're like, you're more okay with doing a specific style for a while, because it's like, oh, it's interesting to me. it's like it's fun. When I make it, I feel good.
Mm.
That should not be clouded by the idea, will I become a one trick pony that does this for the rest of their life and become, like a this little caricature of myself on in the world. It's like
Oh,
the way that the world views you isn't important. It's the way that you
mm.
feel, and when you create something, how do you feel when you create it? And that's kind of like lost, I think, for a lot of artists. It's like just feel it, just feel it, get back to the feeling. And this comes back to our very first topic, like the biohacking thing, like
Yeah.
becoming aware, becoming conscious, becoming really in tune with your body, how you feel, visualizing your future, visualizing what you want, and connecting to your intuition. The intuition is a huge thing, I think, for me. Like it's becoming much more important in the past couple of years, especially.
Mm.
Like nobody talks about intuition. I feel like what? First off, what the hell is it? Like
Right.
like it's just like a feeling. It's just like an instinct. Like what? Like how do you like scientifically explain intuition? No idea. But it's a thing, and it's definitely real. It's like a spirit that inhabits you. That's the best explanation that I found. It's like the spirit of intuition enters you, and when you're inhabited by intuition, you're more open. You're receptive to the ideas. You're like, okay, good idea, somewhat, really exciting idea. Okay, it's like a beacon. Go, and then
Yeah.
you're in the feeling. You're releasing what could go wrong or could go well, right? Both sides. It could go well, it could go wrong. You release that and you act in the now and you say, this is exciting. I'm going to go towards that. And that
Mm.
was actually one of my previous episodes was called Release the Destination and Play. So you just play. You
Yeah.
just allow yourself to just play. Like, don't take it so seriously. Don't freak out about if you're going to succeed or not. Like, know that what you're doing is necessary. It's part of your journey. Surrender to the idea that failure and success will come, and both of those are good,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Failure is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like when failure happens, good. I have more time to learn. I can look at what I did and grow from it.
Yes.
Success happens, good. I got my goal. Awesome.
Yes.
Right?
So
It's like,
it's win-win in that mentality, right? Fail or success. It's a win-win situation, you know?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
It's a really great place to operate from. And why not operate from a great place?
why not?
That's what I say to people too. Like when I do some group coaching and some one-on-one stuff, people ruminate and sit in the limitation and they sit in the pain. And I always remind people, the pain and the discomfort, the suffering that you have in your own mind, the psychological suffering that you have, it literally starts and ends inside your mind.
Mm.
That's where it happens. I
Yeah.
don't feel it. Like I don't feel your anxiety.
Right.
I don't even know that it exists.
Right.
The only person that knows it exists is you.
Yeah.
And so if you have anxiety about your future, remember that you've always made it. Like you're still alive. First off, that's pretty damn good evidence that you're going to be okay. Like I mean, you've made it.
Yeah.
Like no matter how hard it was, how much you had to scrape up just to get some bread, whatever it is, like you made it.
Mm.
That's evidence enough to say, okay, I'm going to make it. No matter how hard it is now, I'm going to make it. And so there's I love the idea of surrender. Like it's a new concept for me too. Like surrender to the idea that it's going to be okay.
Mm.
And even if it does go wrong, surrender to that idea too. Surrender to that idea that, because like, if you look at your past, there were moments where things did not go well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. Like you were talking about parts that were really depressed and really just, a lot of negative emotion and negative experience. Once you've gone past it and you've integrated that part of you, it's like, I'm grateful for it.
Yes.
Right. There's a gratitude with every experience once you integrate it. And that's really the mission that I think I'm on now is bringing those kinds of ideas
Mm.
to artists, because I think they need them. Like doubt is such a terrible thing to have as an artist.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love this conversation. I'm sure we can keep going on for days about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of like being grateful. I'm more grateful for the shit and the dark times of my past than the good times. Good times are amazing, but I've learned more, and I believe we all learn more, substantially more from the harder times
Hmm.
than the good times. So, but it's only in retrospect can we see the entire story and all the dots connected, right? So,
Yeah.
but the unknown, the future, it's like a blank canvas. And I meet so many people, they're like, I'm terrified of the blank canvas. I'm like, for me, I fucking love the blank canvas. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, because you can do anything on there. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they might be crippled by the infinite potential. It's like, what, I have to make a decision. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's, but you have to remind them there's other white canvases out there. Like,
right.
it's not just this one, you know,
There's
you can make a mess here and then we'll get you a new one. If it doesn't go right, like you can always make another drawing. And a bad painting, a bad drawing, way better than no drawing at all.
exactly, man.
World better. World's better.
Yeah,
Like,
and you can apply that to any other concept in life because it's the sense that you actually did something you versus the person that is all talk and no show, right? So
yeah.
yeah, drawing is a literal way to say that you did something, which is why I'm doing this 21-day challenge of 5 minutes a day drawing something.
Hmm.
And if look, if a person doesn't have 5 minutes a day to do something that they're interested in, you really got to fucking examine your life. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
5 minutes, like, are you kidding me? Then you need an hour to do the thing, you know? So I've been finding that a lot with artists or people that want to become artists. They're like, I can't find the time. It's like, you make the time. You will make it if you want to do it. Otherwise, you're just not that interested. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
go find something that you're going to be interested
Yeah. There's got to be, it's a sacrificial element. It's the, you got to make the time. I have an artist I've been working with for like 2 years now. She's mother of two, has a day job, takes care of the house, and then she paints from like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. every night. Every night she paints from those times, and then she sleeps like 5 or 6 hours and does the whole day again. And I'm
Wow.
like, you are the most dedicated painter I've ever worked with. Like I tell her this, and she's like, no, no, no. I'm just doing what I have to do. It's like, no,
Wow.
like she makes the time. Like she could easily go to bed at 10 o'clock, but no,
Yeah.
she goes into her studio, puts the light on, paints, gets 2 hours of work done every single time that she can. And it's
Amazing.
like you make time, and if you're not making time, then it's not a priority
Exactly.
and you're not really that interested, or you hope that you could be interested, but you're not willing to face the discomfort of making that thing happen.
Mm.
Right? Like the discomfort often is like the actual, like it's the thing it's where you should go. You should face the discomfort.
Exactly.
I think we actually live now in a world where everybody, I mean, it's always been this way, but more so, everybody wants to avoid discomfort.
Oh
They
yeah.
want to avoid conflict. They want to avoid the hard conversation with themselves, with their loved one, especially with themselves. Like, you ask yourself, what should I stop doing that I know I should stop doing, man? The answers just flood in and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Where's my phone? I need to distract myself from."
Exactly. Yeah. 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 And
Which
it's like,
is an interesting biohacking technique of a hermetic stressor like cold plunge or the
oh
heat.
yeah.
So in Austin here, it's just as hot as balls, like most of the time, and it's like I've grown to love that, and I love that discomfort because it does make you stronger to go into situations that are uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So you could kind of create experiences like that in your own life that are going to give you that discomfort experience. And for some people, that could be sitting down and learning to draw. That could be their
Yeah.
discomfort.
Yeah. I think that the cold plunge and the hot sauna, I do the hot sauna a lot. I don't have access to like an actual cold plunge like Kuya, like you guys do over there in Austin. But I do cold showers every once in a while. But the hot sauna, man, 20 minutes in there, it's like you are reset. Like your mind is clear. You have a better. It's like you're doing a little car wash for your soul. Like it like rinses everything off, exfoliates all the crap, and just makes you feel much better when you get out. But there's
Yeah.
also like this idea of the discomfort. So you go in knowing it's going to be uncomfortable. You face it voluntarily. No one's forcing you to go in there. You're facing it voluntarily, and then there's moments where you're like, all right, I'm good, I can get out. But then you're like, no, I'm going to stay a little longer, right?
Yeah.
Those moments come up when you're learning how to draw. When you're getting frustrated, you're like, I'm done. Just crumple up the paper, throw it away. I'm out. I'm done. Well, that's a discomfort that led you to make the decision to flee, to run away, right? You're in the hot sauna. You say, no, I have agency. I'm going to stay a little bit longer. Okay. Then another wall comes up. It says, get out. You're getting hot. It's what you're sweating. Your every cell in your body starts saying, you need to get out. You need to get out. Hold on. Take a deep breath. Stay 30 more seconds. Right. And you're training yourself to face the discomfort of your mind and your body, so that when you go and paint, like I've been working on this painting behind me, painting all these rocks and stuff, getting really tedious. And man, I paint for 2 hours, just paint like a little patch of rocks. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm done with this. I need to take a break, And it's like, oh, hold on a second. Like, give me a minute, take a deep breath. I got 30 more minutes in me. Right. And that's trained in me through the biohacking of doing a sauna. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like all of these things that we do, it's like you're training your mind to have better control of what you do. And so like that's why I'm really interested in what you're doing, like the biohacking for your creativity. Like, how can I optimize my system so that I can create as much as humanly possible? Because there's going to be a day where I make my last painting. Like, I don't know when that's going to be. It could be next week. It could be in 30, 40 years. But there will be a day, like there was for Michelangelo. He made his last sculpture. He made his last painting. Picasso made his last cubist self-portrait. Then they were gone. That was it. Boom. Bookends. Closed. That's the work. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that concept. So in 2019, when I had the vision for the art show, I realized the only way I'm going to have this art show in the time that I wanted it to was to act and live as if it were my last year on earth.
Wow. And
so I wrote that big on giant Post-its and taped it up, and I put it on my door every time before I left the apartment. I would see that and be like, holy fuck, like, is what I'm doing now, if this is my last year on earth, is what I'm doing now or what I'm saying yes to going to take away from this art show? And so, every year since then, it's just a little game that I play of like, if this is my last year on earth, would I be doing what I'm doing? And I constantly have to ask myself that question. And sometimes I'm so frustrated with just life and just how things feel. And then I snap and I'm like, dude, if this was your last day on earth, would you be acting like the little bitch like you are right now? I'm like, yeah. Man, I'm going to change things. I'm going to smile at everybody. I'm going to talk to that person over there who feels like, they need some talking to, or I don't know. I'm going to call this loved one. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to make this one last drawing, right? It changes.
Yeah, it does.
And I know, like, look, like you said, we don't know when our last moment is going to be, but one day we will create our last drawing or painting. And so to live in the present moment with that in mind, it's like memento mori, right? Just know that you're going to die. And it doesn't have to be this weird, dark, negative thing. I don't know. I believe we all come back here. Consciousness lives beyond the body. But that's kind of what I believe. And it's kind of liberating. We don't know what's going to happen after we leave this body, but there is a sense of, there is who is the I, right? If you identify as your body, then of course you're going to be like, I die with the body. But there is this sense of like the I, and then there's the body, and then there's the I, and then there's the world, right? It's like, I am a car. I have a car, but I am not the car. Like I am.
Yeah. Yeah, this is similar to like the what Ram Dass talks about, like, I have a foot, but I'm not the foot. Like this foot is older than it was 10 years ago, but it's not, I don't identify with it completely. Or like you could say, I'm Sean, I'm an artist. I say that I'm not actually an artist at the very base fundamental sense. That's what I do, but I'm not that. What I am is something in the center. like the divine spirit in the middle, the consciousness, like
Yeah.
the thing that looks out and sees and operates in the world. Like, and I think that that's a really, it's such a powerful way to approach, because first off, you just see people differently. Like when you accept a divinity in people and
Mm.
accept like a personal like connection to the experience of being alive, like it just opens up the your ability to just process the fact that we're even here, like, and to process the fact that we're going to die and everybody we know is going to die. Like that's a horrible thing to think about. Like it could be depressing, but knowing that it's a burden that we all have to experience and that we're all part of, it's it's a uniting kind of thing.
Exactly.
We're all here to experience a very similar experience. It's archetypal.
Yes.
And the idea of myself, like this is an idea that I recently kind of stumbled upon. The analogy is scaffolding. And so there's the divine self inside, and then the things that we project as ourself is a scaffolding built up and off of that divinity. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I say I'm an artist, that's a scaffolding that my life, my influence, my teaching, my everything has crafted. And that's what I use to kind of reach upward, right? So the
Yeah.
scaffolding is a thing that we can climb actually to move up. So it
Mm.
moves up from, we have our divine center, and then we create parts of ourself that aim up higher and higher. And so the scaffolding is a tool for us to aim up. But it's
Mm.
also sometimes, if we look at it and we see it this way, we can actually say, okay, there's part of my scaffolding, there's part of my identity and my self, the thing that I call myself, that are hurting me. Well, I get depressed, I procrastinate, I addicted to alcohol, I'm this, I'm that, right? Those are all scaffolding too. I'm this. If I say I'm this, that's not I'm divine, I'm a divine consciousness, that's a scaffolding. So if there's parts of your life that you can actually be aware of and look at and say, oh, this part of the scaffolding is all broken up, it's all tattered and destroyed, and there's no, structure to it. I can't use that part of myself to climb upward. All it does is make me collapse. So if you look at anybody who's had addiction or, anything, scrolling can be that. Like if you scroll too much, that can be an addictive thing that is part of the scaffolding that lowers who you are. It doesn't lift you up. So now
Mm.
we become aware of it all, and we say, "Oh, this part over here really needs some work and some integration." You patch it up, you put the things in the right place, you become grateful for the traumatic experience, and then all of a sudden, now you can climb that thing up to a higher version of yourself. Right?
Mm.
It's a really beautiful kind of illustration of this thing that's completely metaphysical. Like there's no place where I can find Sean the artist. Like that painting is not Sean the artist. It's a painting I made, but it's not Sean. That's not Sean the artist,
Right.
right? It's like, where is that thing that we say we are? Like, it's completely, it's like outside the 3D.
Exactly.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
I love the way you put that. Yeah, and identifying as even saying something like I'm always tired or I'm always this. It's like when you identify the thing, you're just perpetuating the thing. Like when I'm tired and I'm truly exhausted, I say, okay, there is exhaustion, there's tiredness. I am, and then there's tiredness. Like you
Mhm.
identify with the things, but also with the good things, and it does keep you centered and I find it's a really great way to learn how to talk to yourself in that way. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. This idea of this illustration, it's an illustration in your mind. Like it's like a way, it's an analogy, but it's also very visual, because
Yeah.
that's what we do, right? We climb upward. Like, from you going from the Simpsons to the concept art, you were climbing upward.
Yeah.
You were like literally going through the process of learning. So that's going upward. And then you're joining a new company and you're getting the jobs and you're doing this. It's all climbing upward. And then now you're doing your own art. You're helping other people. You're climbing upward.
Yeah.
Right. And so, along with the physical, like there's the biohacking the physical body and making it as optimal as possible through physical activity, sauna, cold plunge, exercise, all of those things. And then there's also, how can I repair the structures of my mind, like
Right.
really become aware of the things that are like haunting me and kind of torturing myself with, seeing them, being aware of them, stop hiding them, and then just like look at them.
Mm,
um
amazing.
yeah, it's something that is very hard for people, like
Mm,
I call it playing hide and seek with your own, with your bad thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. Because you have that, like if you have a trauma or something that happened to you that you don't want to think about, like, someone that you love passed away.
Mm.
Well, you think of that, it makes you mournful and it makes you sad. You're like, I don't want to think about that. You put it away. And so it's hide and seek. Like the thought comes up, it's found you, and then you put it away again and you go run away from it. And then you go, you hide from it. And then eventually it comes back up and it pops up and it makes you sad. And it's like, hold on, how can I hide from my own self? Like I know what those things are, even if I'm not thinking about it now. I know what happened to me, right? It's like you just lay it all out and you're like, oh, it's there. It's there whether I hide from it or not.
Exactly. So yeah, how do you face it? And this brings up an interesting project I've been working on for years called the House of the Mind. And it's a kind of a visual journaling kind of project where we view our mind like a house. And this comes from Freud, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Freud said, I am a house. And he was talking about his mind. And like in this house, there's all these rooms, right? And I was thinking about this concept before I heard him say that in a TV show. When I heard him say that, I'm a house, I'm like, dude, I've been working on this thing called House of the Mind. And it's like, remember you and I talked about Carl Jung, like
Yeah.
people don't have ideas, ideas have people, right? They're all
Yeah.
out there and they're shared and we can pull them in. But like if you help people to visualize their issues, right? So if you visualize your mind as a house, inside the basement is something that is called the pain box, which for me, I draw it. It looks like an old, like Victorian treasure chest, and it has like spikes and fucking horns, and it's
Oh
got
yeah.
flames coming out of it. And it's where, right? The point is like, I want people to help almost laugh at how ridiculous it is to bury all of these emotions, right? So if we bury them all and we put them in our pain box, and that means we don't really go down to the basement a lot. What's happening in the basement is going to come up and affect our garden in the house of our mind. It's going to affect the other rooms in the house, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By visualizing this, almost like I have this vision of like a doll house, like drawing your own doll house. And
Mm.
basically, but the pain box is a huge part of it because that's where all your trauma, your shame, your pain, your regret, all of the horrible things that have happened to you are in this box. And until you go down and learn how to even deal with this pain box, it's going to come up. And like Carl Jung says, like we call it fate, regarding what was the quote? We'll have to find it later. We'll
Yeah.
like that. Or it's the idea that things will keep happening in our lives, and until
Uh-huh.
we address the root cause or something, we'll call it fate, right? But we're
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes
not
sense.
dealing with the root causes, and that means looking at it, and that's the hardest thing to do. Like you were saying, like looking at your pain and your trauma from your past is so dark and painful, so we don't think about it, but it's there and it affects our daily lives, whether
Oh
we
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like it it affects every part of it. Like the traumas that I experienced when I was younger, it changed the way that I expressed myself within groups, within school, within, all of
Mm,
those things. And it wasn't until I actually looked at it and re-experienced it voluntarily on my own, right? It's one thing to have it, like when you have a trauma and then someone else, it's called a trigger, right? Someone else triggers you to remember it. It's involuntary. So it re-traumatizes you in a way. But when
mhm.
you choose to do it, you have the power over it. And
That's
just saying that you have the power to look at it is the way that you heal it, right? You can't ignore a cut on your arm. You have to look at it. It might be gruesome, it might look terrible, but you got to look at it.
right.
And so yeah, integrating these things is like this is step number one to becoming the most prolific, the most efficient, the most, you know effective artist that you can be. Like
Yes.
it's all tied to it. Like if your creativity is suffering, I don't want to look at your creativity. I want to look at what's causing the creativity to be suffering. And it could be like what you're doing, you know, your physical body could just be deteriorating, could be degenerating in that way. And it's like if your body feels like crap all the time, you're not going to want to sit down and draw, you know? Like yeah, it's a topic that we like I think we've been going on quite a while. We can keep going.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll have a part two, part three of this. Let's
yeah,
keep.
man, I definitely want to keep talking about it. But I think we'll end it here.
Excellent.
Um, I think it's a good spot. What do you think?
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been going for quite a while, but it's good. It's we talked about all sorts of stuff from your history, your professional career to biohacking, creativity, your workshops. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
Where can people like that are listening find you? Where how can they sign up for your workshops? How can they get in touch with you and become closer to, you know, what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much posting a lot on Instagram, so at alexruiz.artist. I do have a website that's coming, but they're going to be able to see everything through Instagram first before all the other stuff is built.
Cool. Yeah, Instagram's the hub these days. It's easy to find people there. Cool. Yeah, I'm following you for sure. Awesome, man. Well, that'll be it. That'll be it for today. Thank you for listening, guys, and looking forward to continuing the conversation with you, and you know, collaborating with you and working alongside with you as an artist. And yeah, thanks for the talk, man. It's been great.
Thank you, Sean.